everybody. This is Smithel of the O3 Dropcast. We wanted to come to you a little bit today here to talk about skirmish seasons that's upon us. Obviously, right now we know that we are all kind of prepping for skirmish. There's the option of it being Blitz or it being LL, based upon whatever your store has decided upon. And to kind of help you guys prepare, what we've decided to do is put together a little bit of a tier list based on what we think, or I should say I think, because again, I've kicked Craig off this after saying Zen was F tier. His opinions no longer matter. No, I'm just joking. Craig is very, very smart, knows what he's talking about. This is just kind of me going off based on what my thoughts and opinions are for the format and what I would anticipate you to see at your local LGS for skirmish season, as well as kind of what to prepare for or play. So what I have here, and I'm going to kind of make these a little bit hopefully easier to see here, is all of the young heroes that could potentially show up for Blitz season. And, I figure we'll kind of go through them one by one, talk about my thoughts as to how they play, where they should be ranked, all of that kind of good stuff, and kind of who you should play if you kind of want to win. Again, disclaimer, all this is based upon, my experience, my personal thoughts and recommendations, kind of what I would anticipate to see. Obviously, if your local medal is different, you may need to prepare differently, but I'm hoping some of this is relatively straightforward and agreeable. So we'll kind of just go through the list here, and if something makes sense to kind of jump ahead or behind, we'll do so. But let's start out here with a Dash, good old basic Dash. So the way that I have everything kind of laid out right now is S for S tier. Player prepare for these. A, this is high probability that they could win in some instances. B would be specialist. So we're saying, if this is a hero that you main and you play all the time and you're very, very familiar with, under the right circumstances, you may be able to get a couple points or a win for it. C would be a pet deck. So this is something you play just for fun, but chances of it winning are very, very unlikely. D is do not play. These are the ones that I think are trash and will do nothing kind of for the metagame or the scene. So again, if you play these, don't expect to win, don't expect anything like that. Not saying that you shouldn't. So let's go a little bit into Dash. Excuse me. Dash I think is very good. It being a fast format, I think Dash has the ability to raise people down, especially if there's a lot of no blocks in your meta, things like that. I think Dash would be pretty well positioned in A tier. I mean, puts out good damage, moves fast, bursts people down, as long as you don't get fatigued out, which I don't think there's going to be a lot of people playing fatigue decks or things trying to slow you down. I think Dash could do very, very good. Arachne Solitary. So I think this is kind of a dark horse hero. I think a lot of people may not consider it or sleep on it. Arachne Solitary, I would argue, is right now A tier. There is a lot of good cards that you can play with him right now. He can go very, very fast, race people down. The attack reactions are good. A lot of good stealth cards. A lot of good potential. I would very much expect to see Arachne Solitary pick up a couple points this season. KO, old KO. I'm gonna, Berserker Runt. I'm gonna kind of put KO in C. I'm gonna use him kind of as a middle ground for everything, because they always say only one person is having fun whenever they're playing KO, and that's either KO because they're rolling really, really good, or the opponent because KO is rolling really, really bad. So I think it's a midpoint. Statistically speaking, all things even, you should almost end like 50-50 on this, where you're just crushing people in 1 or 2 turns, or you're just losing terribly because everything is half. So KO, I think C tier. I think you play him for fun if you kind of want to go through. Shiana, D tier. I think Shiana's going to get better the more specializations and everything that we have. I don't think she's there yet. I think she may be fun to play. Don't expect to play it. Don't expect to get a lot from her. Excuse me, I still have a little bit of cough getting over a cold, so I'm going to mute myself occasionally. Data Doll. Data Doll I thought was in a good spot until now, like Zen. Having the 3-card hand is kind of rough. I'm going to put Data Doll in D tier. I think you can win with Data Doll. I think Data Doll is, I'll put pet deck. Maybe in the right situation, Data Doll can win if you have a good meta for it and you're prepared. Overall, though, I'm not expecting a ton of Data Doll Living Legend points coming from this season. Cavdine, trash. In fact, while we're kind of there, let's look at all the other clear trash heroes. I'm gonna put the Prof there. I'm gonna put Melody there. Getting us what you need is going to be down there. Cadmian's there as well. So let's put them there. I think, all of these are just, one-off heroes, not going to be able to do much for you. I wouldn't anticipate seeing them or anybody kind of playing them. New Prism. Very good. I would expect to see some of this. Do I think it's going to be hyper represented? Maybe not. I do think that New Prism is very, very good. I'm going to put, is it above Dash? I'm going to put it below Dash. I think it's a little bit harder to pilot, but is a good hero. Something that I would anticipate kind of seeing, in the right circumstances. Probably going to pick up a couple points here and there. Old Prism, I'm going to say probably not as good. I'd probably play New Prism over Old Prism in this. Not a bad hero. I think if you're a specialist, you play a lot of it. I think it'll be kind of fun. Good old Bolton. Let's see. I think a lot of warriors are going to be struggling right now. Bolton just doesn't go fast enough to keep up. Having to deal with the soul, everything like that. I'm going to put C. I'm going to put it above Data Doll, but below KO. Levia. Good old Levia. I'm going to put Levia C as well. Levia loses a lot of things that she can do that make her great in CC. The Blood Debt is obviously, not fun to deal with. I think there's just better brutes to play in this situation. Vincent. I'm going to put for now low B. I think Vincent can kind of go fast. Is it going to be able to go fast enough to kind of win the whole thing? Probably not. But again, if you're a specialist in it, maybe you got something kind of going on. I would anticipate maybe being able to get something out of it. This may change as we kind of go through. Right now, I'm going to put B. Dory Quicksilver, good deck. I think it's gotten a little bit worse with the mist release. But all in all, I think there's a couple good wins. If you're playing a lot of Dory Quicksilver, you could probably make it happen. Emperor S. I think Emperor is one of the decks to beat. It was gross before, even with some of the recent card bans, things like that. I still think it is very gross. I would anticipate Emperor to pick up a lot of points. The one that failed, the Emperor, Yoji. This is a tough one. I mean, Yoji, you get the health advantage. You are able to kind of play out fatigue if there's some decks that you can kind of get through and survive. The question is, can he survive against Zen these days? I don't know. In the right meta, if you think you can fatigue out everybody, Yoji may have a spot. But probably low B, I may move him down. I'm going to put Yoji high C. Let's put Gonde, I'll move you. We'll put you above Bolton. Okay, Bolton, we're going to put you down like this. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to put him high C right now. Old Arachne. I don't think it's there. C. Above Bolton, below Cab. I think, if you just love Assassin, I love Arachne. There's actually some good Arachne decks out there that perform well. I think the game's going too fast right now for you to have to sit there and be able to mill out or fatigue people out. Lexi, excuse me again. Let me think about Lexi. Let's do high C. I think Lexi can perform well. You can move fast enough in the right meta. This is somebody you'd have to be very, very familiar with to kind of pull things off. But, I don't think we're going to be getting a ton of Lexi points. Briar, I'm going to put Briar above Dash. I think Briar is a very, very good deck. I think she's bordering on S tier right now. Maybe moving her up to S tier. We'll see, but she's always kind of been a force in Blitz. I think with Kano LLing, Icelander no longer there, Oldham no longer there to kind of slow her down. I think she has a lot of potential. Still having access to Thorn is great. Yeah, I think she's A. I don't think she's S tier. I think there's just some other heroes right now that are just a lot better. But still, I'd expect some LL points from her. Let's go dash database. C. This format moves fast. You have a lot of items, a lot of no blocks. That's a very dangerous position to be in right now. In fact, I'm going to put her below our KO baseline of saying, you're kind of on the bottom 50% here. Good old Max Nitro. God, Max is just not great. I'm gonna put Max in D. I think if you're, I know that may upset some people. I'm gonna also put Teklo in D. I don't think these two are fit right now for the format of Blitz. I don't think that they get there. I don't think that they succeed. Max, you're trying to do a little bit too much setup that you're just not gonna have the time for. Teklo great, but not what I would consider a big option to play right now. I think a lot of the fatigue decks, a lot of the slower decks are going to struggle. They're just not in a great spot. So for a whole, both of these I wouldn't anticipate much from. Valda, let's put... Yeah, I think Valda we're not going to get a lot of... I like her more than Max and Teklo. But again, Valda's just kind of fallen off a little bit these days. Still a great hero, still fun to play. But I don't think Valda's doing anybody any favors right now. There's just better options to play. Like, I'd rather play Yoji if I'm playing Guardian than Valda, to be quite honest. Which is saying something. Brevant. D. I think it's too slow. Brevant and Yoji actually are a similar position. Do I put both of them? I'm gonna put, I'll put Pet Deck if you're just having fun. Maybe if your meta's right and you really, really get some lucky pairings and things like that, maybe you can fatigue out, pull out a win. But very, very highly unlikely. But I kind of consider these two together and close. That if I'm gonna play or I'm gonna do something on either of them, I think they got to move together. I think they're pretty similar. New KO, very, very strong. I'm gonna put KO up here. I'm gonna probably move Dash down. This is gross. We have a couple locals right now that are working on a KO Blitz deck, and it is disgusting. Shout out to Vince and Joey Bobbles. I'm very terrified to play them. I've played their Blitz deck a couple times just at Armory. Played against it, and I know they're continuously working on it, and I don't want to give out anything that they're doing in terms of people, but I will say it is a disgusting deck. With the format moving as fast as it does, I think KO can just rip through some people right now, played correctly. Rhinar, I'm going to put as a high B, maybe move it up to A. Rhinar, I think, has a lot of possibilities too. I mean, Rhinar right now is in a good spot, similar to KO. I think KO just does a little bit better, but Rhinar, I mean, if you can just intimidate and just get rid of hands and things like that, and it's against a hero that wants to block, Rhinar just does well. I would anticipate a lot of potential from Rhinar. Does he pick up any wins? Maybe one or two here or there. I wouldn't expect a ton, but a good hero if you're a specialist on the Brute class. Rhinar and KO are great. I think KO is probably just a little better suited. Betsy, the hero I love, but LSS does not love me and needs to provide some Betsy specializations. Do not play. I think Betsy's just bad right now. Let's get to a better Guardian. Victor, S. Victor is very, 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 very strong right now. Lots of good cards. Just being able to draw cards off of his ability is certainly great and beneficial in matchups like this. Being able to kind of get a full grip and make some plays is good. Has enough defensive powers. Has some good on-hit effects for some of the cards. Blocks pretty well. I would anticipate Victor to be picking up some points this season. Very, very much so. Kasai. Let's go above our KO baseline, but barely. Kasai's not great. I don't think Kasai's in a good spot. If I'm playing Warrior that's going to want to be swinging multiple times, personally, I like Dory Quicksilver better in this format. I think she just has more potential and is able to get things done that Kasai cannot. Being able to have cards that potentially put a permanent counter on the Dawnblade Resplendent is good. Kasai is just... I feel like just not quite there in Blitz. I'll put her up high C. I'll put her below Lexi. I'll put Lexi below her. So I'll put her above Lexi. If you have the abilities and you get a right meta, maybe you'll be able to get a couple good Kasai matchups. If you get people that don't know how to block against her, don't know what to do, that's great. I think she struggles. I hate to do this to Olympia. Olympia's going to go in the do not play list as well. Just not good. Not good. Big Axe Olympia, just you don't have the card pool to kind of fat deck like you do in CC to get some winnings. I'd rather play almost anything else in the Warrior pool than Olympia right now in Blitz. And I hate it because Olympia is one of my favorite heroes, but sadly, no. Not the time. Let's look at New. New, I think, is okay. I'm going to put New in the C tier. Pet deck, if you love Assassin and you know what you're doing, that's good. Just if I'm playing Assassin, I'd almost rather just go Wrecking Solitary. I think New, you have some health gain abilities, that's great. But your sideboard options and having to take up a lot of cards to transcend that are no blocks against, a format that you have low health and you may need to want to block or may want to block, I think is dangerous. So I'll put New at C at a pet deck. I wouldn't expect a ton of new points, but as a whole, maybe one or two lucky draws here or there. But I don't expect a whole terrible much. Enigma, I'm gonna put Enigma at low B, maybe moving her to C. Enigma's great in CC. I think, a very, very powerful deck. But again, low life total. I think I'd rather just be slapping Angels down on the board and just trying to go wide and, end my opponent real fast here than having to deal with, ward and, setups and all that kind of stuff. I think the format's just a little too fast right now for Enigma to succeed here. This is tough. Yeah, I'll leave her in B. I'll leave her in B. Let's do the other Enigma. I think I'll put this one at C. I think this one's slightly worse than plain Enigma, but not by much. I do think there's some things that you can do with her ability to kind of start your equipment upside down and flip over. You're basically just giving yourself extra health with the ward on board there for the equipment. So it kind of protects you out a little bit there. In the right pilot, maybe you'd be able to kind of top something, but I don't think you're winning too much. I think basic Enigma over New Moon any day. Let's talk about the boogeyman in the room, Zen. Zen is very, very gross. I'd probably even put him kind of towards the top of the S tier. He just puts out a lot of damage. Goes fast, puts out a lot. A lot of times you just can't block what you need to do there. I think Zen is very disgusting. I think he needs significant bans and Blitz to bring him down, and it's just not there. I expect Zen to get quite a bit of LL points this season. He's just gonna speed through it. Absolutely speed through it, I think. Azuri, I'm gonna put a high C. I'm gonna put this actually Enigma down here, like that. So let's talk Azuri. So Azuri is great. Obviously just won the Pro Tour. Very good hero. The issue with, I think, Azuri right now is often there's Azuri hands that when you want the disruption, you just got to sit there and say, I need to take the damage that my opponent's throwing at me this turn because I have a great disruption turn next turn, and I know what I want to do and how to make it happen. And when you only have 20 life, it's very scary. I mean, Azuri gets worse and worse the more that she kind of wants to block. In my mind, kind of an ideal Azuri turn is basically, or not ideal, but a good one is basically dagger, isolate, swap. If you're kind of just getting in the isolate swap mode and they're finding ways around it, they're putting D-Reacts in Arsenal or whatever the case may be, or forcing you to block so that you can't get that done, I think Azuri is going to struggle. Do I expect somebody to get a win with Azuri? Sure. I don't think it's going to be as much. Kind of very similar to what I said to other Arachne. If I'm playing Assassin, I want to do Arachne Solitary. I think it goes a little faster and you kind of still get the sneaky things with like the spikes and all that good stuff. So it's just, in my opinion, better. Katsu. Katsu's interesting. I mean, I would say Katsu could pick up some stuff, but you have to be a specialist. If I'm playing Ninja, I'm playing Zen over Katsu any day of the week. It's better. Katsu's good. A lot of people struggle to block Katsu. Especially in a low life format here, you could definitely get some things done. In fact, I'm going to put Katsu higher up in the B, but you got to really pilot him well. And I think a lot of the Katsu players just shifted to Zen for Blitz. Benji, I'll put Benji in B as well. Kind of with Katsu. Great hero, goes low, but again, if I'm going low and wide and things like that, I think there's other ways to sneak in damage faster than just Benji. Again, I'm just, you try to compare him or not compare him to Zen, and it's just hard because they're wildly different heroes and wildly different in what they want to do. But it's just, I think we're going to see more. You're going to want to prepare more for a Zen than a Benji. I'll move Benji up above Rhinar and Dory. But it's just, it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. Azalea. I'm going to go C tier. Azalea, again, very much is one of those things of saying, hey, I don't want to block. I just want to put out the damage and the dominate, which is great in CC because you got a little bit of life to play with. You're able to kind of absorb a few more hits and hopefully put more disruption or, tokens and, things like that on your opponent's side, like the Frailty, the Blood Rods, things like that. Get more dominated arrows. Your life is just so low. You're going to have to block. And when Azalea is blocking, she's not happy, at least in my experience and kind of what I've seen in my plays. So I'm putting Azalea in C. I just think she doesn't do what she does as well in CC anymore, especially when you got people like Enigma and things like that on the line, or you got a whole army of angels, kind of facing down on you. You just don't have those turns. So I'm going to put Azalea in C. Maybe higher in C, but honestly, I'd almost rather just play KO Berserker than Azalea. At least then I know I have the potential of like throwing out 17 damage easily instead of having to jump through a million hoops, and I can block more with the KO. Rippy Riptide, another great hero. B. I almost played Riptide last season. I think I did. I have a very good deck for him. I think he plays very well. But you got to be a specialist. You got to kind of know what you're coming into. You got to know what your local meta scene are, so you can kind of plan your traps accordingly. But Riptide's good. I think I fully expect Riptide to pick up a point here or two here or there. Aurora, new hero. Don't play. I don't think she has enough support right now to be very good or do anything. In fact, I'm going to put Terra there as well. Terra, I think you could play a little defensive like you would Brevant and Yoji. I just think he doesn't do it as well. I mean, I'm playing Brevant or Yoji if I'm trying to fatigue out over Terra. Don't like it, not good. Who's next? Good old Blaze. We're going to put Blaze in S, but I have to scroll up, so it's going to take me a little bit of time. Blaze is very strong. In fact, I'd put Blaze above Emperor. I think Blaze and Zen are going to be decks 1 and 2 this season. Blaze is very, very good. Even with the wizard cards that they've kind of banned out, she can just do a lot of stuff. I mean, being able to just shoot damage left and right, the games don't go very long. You got a good Blaze player, which I think a lot of the Kano players have swapped over to Blaze now as opposed to more so than Emperor. You're going to be hitting a lot of Blazes. You got to prepare. You got to be ready to go. Even though she's kind of been harder to see and harder to kind of prep for, I think we get a lot of Blaze. I think we got an awful lot of Blaze coming up right now. So expect her to kind of fly just as fast as Zen, I think. Dromai. Where do we put you, Dromai? Let's throw Dromai. Let's put B. I'm going to put low B. In fact, I'm going to put Riptide up a little bit more here, too. We'll put Riptide somewhere around there. Dromai, I think, can win. I think a lot of people aren't prepping for Dromai as much. You have the right scene. You have the right meta. I think you can get something done. But again, if I'm Illusionist and I'm trying to build board, I'm going Angels right now in this situation. You still got a lot of Ash hoops to jump through, things like that. I feel like it's just not as good as she was in CC. But, you know, there's still very good Dromai Blitz players out there. Let's go B. Good old Bravo. Good old Bravo. High C. The Dominate's good, especially low life. If you have the right meta, you could probably get something done. I just don't think Bravo is anywhere near as attractive to me as almost anybody else up here. So pet deck, you love Bravo, you love Guardian, go ahead, play it. We had a couple last skirmish season that were top 8. I played against one. It was very, very good deck. Just fatigue, similar to other kind of things right now. It kind of struggles with this. Certainly not impossible, but you got to be a very, very good player. Fi, we'll go B. If I'm jumping through the hoops and trying to go fast, I'm going Dash. Honestly, I'm going Dash. I'm going Zen. Similar to Katsu and every other ninja that I'm saying, it's just I know they're not the same. They have a different kind of thing, but Zen is just if you're trying to go fast and go wide, I'm playing Zen. If I'm trying to go fast with bigger attacks, I'm going Dash. You know what I mean? It's just I got less hoops to jump through to get done what I need to get done with Dash, and I can force blocks, I can force cards out of hands, I can do things like that. I just like Dash better. Now for my favorite hero, and the one that you can call me biased on, you can say whatever. Dory, Big X Dory, I think is still okay, but not great. Again, runs into the same issues that other people have right now whenever you consider fatigue. Dawnblade just isn't as great. I mean, you can kind of race, but if I'm going to race or something like that, I mean, somebody like a Briar or a Zen, a Blaze, I think they just all do it better. But I do think there's a spot for Big X Story if you can get the build to work. Last season, I went 8-0 in my skirmish with her. So, it's a good deck. It's just you kind of got similar to other decks in this specialist. You got to know it very, very well, and you kind of got to get lucky in a couple matchups to make it work. But I mean, it plays well against Emperor. You can play it well against Blaze, not as well, at least the list that I have right now, because you got to kind of prep and have enough AB. Victor, I think there's something to be said about that too. But so it has a chance against 3 of the 4 top decks. Zen is very, very tough. Very, very tough right now. But it's not impossible, But I think this is the call I'm going to make. So S tier, Zen, Blaze, Emperor, Victor. If you're going to play in Blitz, play or prepare for these. I think you're going to see a lot of them. Everything else, meta dependent, local scene dependent, but if you don't want to play either of these, Arachne Solitary, Prism, Dash, KO, Briar, all very, very good options. These are going to probably be what I would expect to be the core of everything, and then B and below, it's just really what your local scene does and kind of preps for. So this is my Blitz prediction. We're going to do an LL one as well. I don't know if it'll be me. I don't know if it'll be Craig, if it'll be Bryce. One of us will come on, certainly, and kind of give our predictions for what the LL scene is going to be for this skirmish. But let me know your thoughts. Tell me how wrong I am in my list, what you think, you would adjust, what you would change. I'm very, very interested in that. If you think that I'm very wrong, let me know why. This is just my opinion. Obviously, yours is just as valid and good. You may have something very different in your scene. I'd be curious to see what you're up against. And then when skirmish season rolls around, we start playing. Let me know who's winning. Let me know what's going on in your local scene. You know, maybe I have it wildly off, and you know, Lexi explodes in popularity. You know, I doubt it, but it'd be very, very cool to see. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you like the tier lists or you like the videos that we put out, we've been trying to do a lot more streaming on YouTube. We have the podcast that comes out almost every week, as long as there's not a major event coming up or you know, one of us isn't sick or anything like that. We'd appreciate it if you haven't already. You know, the normal YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps us get seen. If you want to argue with us about this on Discord, we have a Discord. The link will be in the description here below as well. Join the community. Let us know your thoughts. You know, if you have something wildly different, or you got a good deck tech or something like that that you think we should highlight or bring on, we're willing to do it. We're willing to kind of look at the scene. And if you have, you know, extreme success during skirmish season, you know, we'd love to hear what you did. And maybe bring you on or highlight something or play some of your decks and share it with the world here. So again, appreciate it. Smithel, you can follow me on Twitter at Smithel Gaming. Follow the show and the channel on Twitter. It's at O_3_Dropcast. You know, you'll find my information, Craig's information, Bryce's information, all that kind of stuff there. But again, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. You know, we'll see you around for the next video. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.